Warning. The following show features reviews from wildly unprofessional critics operating without the supervision of professionals. The thoughts and opinions held by these individuals are not to be taken seriously and do not come from a place of intellectual integrity. This show doesn't reflect the opinions of Criticalist or its users. Viewer discretion is advised.
What's up? What's up? What is up, everybody? Hello and welcome to another Criticalist Cast Unhinged Live. We are back for yet another critic-hated, audience-loved movie. We're going to be talking about the cult classic film, The Chronicles of Riddick, which is technically the second film in a series of movies at this point, and I think there might even be another one on the way. I'm not entirely sure, but that's what I've heard rumblings about. But anyways, this is one of those films that you'll hear people in certain circles talk about, especially of the more edgelord variety, because people just really love this movie. And if you love Vin Diesel, then you'll definitely love this movie. But before we touch on that, we're going to do a little bit of news stuff, and I actually have an idea for a new segment that I want to do, considering the fact that I am regularly harassed for being a TikTok kid on Criticalist. I want to lean into that a little bit and help the olds that watch us on staying up to current events that are outside of just the entertainment industry. And outside of that, we are actually going to be talking a little bit about some things that we have been watching lately. But without further ado, I need to introduce my co-hosts, starting with Mr. Chris Kaus.
Greetings.
And Mr. Matt Verlack.
What's up, everybody?
I like to really just keep them totally confused as to who I'm going to call out first. You kind of just do that, like double fake back and forth.
He
And
tried. Let's be honest. He tried. We're really good at this. We've only been doing it for like 3 years or 4 years.
It's a 50% chance, really. Like, I mean, it's not that surprising.
Right. You just wait until I just call out someone that's not even in the room at all.
That would be surprising.
That would
so
be.
y'all don't know there's actually a window technically behind Chris. I'm gonna set it up to where somebody's just like, how do?
They have to do that exactly.
Yes, that
They
exact
don't.
thing. Yeah.
Lying to me.
It's all right. We're gonna plan on it. Cal Gazak's just his head's gonna pop out from behind the bricks behind you. So, but yeah, we are gonna be talking about Chronicles of Riddick. Everybody voted on this one. It was unanimous. I was pulling for in our poll that we did on X and in the app. I really want to review that movie. Now, technically, it's not exactly a critic hated. It's like a lukewarm critic movie, but it's one of my favorites. And there's not but there is still a gap between the audience and the
It's more of a cult classic than anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So I do definitely at some point, I think that is going to be the next one of these that we do since it got blown out of the water by this movie.
I still think we need to suffer through Star Wars.
Yeah, for the
people.
Right.
I mean, I hate that movie, but I think it'll be so
well,
much
not
fun
all
to
Star
roast
Wars,
it.
specifically.
Was it The Last Jedi?
I was saving you from
Episode 8.
inciting violence on the chat where you'd be like, I hate Star Wars.
I regret my tattoos every day.
I mean, there are people at this point that have turned on Disney Star Wars so hard that they do feel that way.
True.
So, I mean, the vitriol is high, but first we're still getting used to dealing with the chat and all that fun stuff. So I do want to say hey to everyone that is in the chat. John Ray Movie Man came in hot right as we were starting things. What's up, buddy? Nice of you to join us. And Bookstore Thor, two of our OGs right there. And I saw that Planet X did a super chat saying cool. So thanks, dude.
Thanks.
Glad to have you back. And for everybody else, Miss Criticalist in here, as always, Mr. Rabbit and Co. You're a new one for us to see in here. And Caveat Ties, better known as Cave Titties, he's in here. And Wine Fiend and Ben Dudley.
First time be able to catch us.
Exactly. So thanks guys for catching us in the chat. We're really happy that everybody's joining us on these live streams, and it's been a lot of fun, and we're going to keep doing it. So I do not remember what next week's movie is, but we'll figure that out. I think it's something big. It might even be the Bong Joon-ho
There's a couple things out next week, and I think we were like torn because
there's
like one unfortunately is going to outdo the others, even though we wanted to see both of them.
It's Mickey 17.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one. I think that's next week, but don't hold
it
me
is.
to
I'm
that.
pretty sure
So,
it is.
Yeah. But anyway, so all right, on to the news here. And Matt, are we running segments for these? I'm still getting used to our whole, so we'll just run the OG news segment. I notice it all the time. There's like a tiny lag for SteamYard, so it's like its clip finishes and you're like, and then you talk,
Smiley
which is
face.
great. But yeah, so I want to go ahead and kick things off with the news, and actually with the new segment, which I think we're going to create a bumper for this as well. I want to come up with a clever name for it first, because it's about, us TikTok kids educating you guys that don't know about the current events. We'll just keep you young, keep you ahead of the current events. And before that, I need to show you guys this. Look at this amazing monstrosity. It does weigh as much as it looks like it does. Chris got this for my birthday, some Ryujan. I think that's how you say it. Is that how they say it? Yeah, this is a single malt Japanese whiskey, which we're going to be drinking tonight. I guess when Matt finishes his beer, he can pour himself a little bit. So we have not tried it. We popped it on the stream, and cheers to everything else. Everybody, if you're drinking, throw one back for us. But
cheers to 37 years with Blaine. Good times.
Right, seriously. Ooh, that's good. It's smooth. You can drink that straight. I did bring some lime juice and some simple syrup in case we were like, but no, that's good. It tastes good. So definitely try out some Ryujin in a 50-pound bottle made of metal and a screw top. So it's pretty amazing. So what I wanted to talk about actually is the Ole Miss student controversy. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. No. This thing is pretty wild. So Ole Miss student Mary Kate Cornett breaks silence on sick and demented claims about her and her boyfriend's father. So what TikTok is currently ablaze with is the fact that it has gone extraordinarily viral that this attractive young lady, and Ole Miss as a college is very notorious. Their sororities and things of that nature are very well known in those kind of college spheres.
Also, it's deep in the South. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
deep in the South.
Ole is in the name. So,
Oh, yeah. Old South. So yes, this is a crazy scenario where essentially it went viral. What is going on here is that this Texas college student, Mary Kate Cornett, has supposedly, I'm going to put that in there because I do not want to get caught for slander on this one, but that essentially what they think happened is that she got plowed by her boyfriend's dad. And,
as one does.
Yes, and it went super viral. So she is 18 years old and a student at the University of Mississippi. And she is claiming that this whole thing is like a cyber attack, this big kind of crazy, conspiracy that's against her. But essentially some internet sleuths got to digging and were poking around, and actually the guy who started this whole thing is a guy by the handle of Magageddon. So spelled Magageddon. So yes, this was based off of some Snapchats and stuff. So the story here, and neither one of y'all have heard a thing about this.
No. I don't know who the F this person is.
No, well, no one did.
I was about to say, why is this relevant in any sort of way?
It's just anything. It's controvery, man. It's internet hubbub, if you will. So yes, this is kind of everywhere. Everyone's talking about it. They're like, is she gonna essentially be like the next Hawk Tuah girl, where she did something really ridiculous, got caught in public, and gonna lean into the controversy, or is she gonna just deny it all? Currently, it's saying that her and her boyfriend are still together, and the dad is still with the wife. There are rumors circulating that the dad has a history of unscrupulous behavior, one might call it.
Nice word.
I like to pull out a few big words every once in a while to make them think that I'm smart. So yeah, she's cute girl though. This is the dad right here and the mom in the photo that they've shared. It would suck if your life was put on blast this bad, especially if it did not happen.
Oh yeah.
But there were a lot of Snapchats, photographs, whatever, and supposedly what happened is this girl came home from school. Her boyfriend was not back yet, and then essentially she went on a date with the dad to her boyfriend's brother's ball game. So her boyfriend's brother had a ball game.
Yep.
The dad took her to it with him.
Yeah.
It's also his dad.
Yes, also his dad. Then took the kid back home and dropped him off. And then the girlfriend and the dad proceeded to go on a date to where things got a little risque.
Promiscuous,
even. Yes. Can you imagine?
No. What world does this play out?
Right. And oh my God, there claims that there were messages and all of this. People are claiming to have receipts about this happening, but they are in current denial about it.
What receipts do you have? Was she texting her best friend, be like, "Ooh, Jake's dad's so hot. He got daddy body,
but a huge hog.
Oh, this hog was so big, what in the what receipts do they have for this story? You know what we should call this? the street trash news.
Yes, street trash news. Yeah, it is some street trash for sure.
That's fitting. If this is what we're talking about, this is some street trash.
Well, and it's steam. This whole thing is just kind of rolled over because of the fact that like Barstool, all of these places are reporting on it. It's getting all of these commentators in on it, and everybody's just like, "Did she bone the dad?" And so that's where we are now. It's the question of the day: is did she bone the dad? And everyone is saying, well, she's denying, while everyone else is saying yes. And so I guess the thing will come down to if a lawsuit happens involving slander. I think at this point, that might be because this guy's apparently like a banker, and I think has some money. And so if this is not true, I would not be surprised if lawsuits were to follow.
But also, you said that it's being reported that they're still together, like the boyfriend, girlfriend, the mom, dad. I mean, that right there is a telling sign. I mean, if I found out that my girlfriend was banging my dad, I'm pretty sure I'd be breaking up with her.
That'd be some deuces right there.
Well, and there were people claiming that actually she had cheated on him before, and he got in a fight because they are apparently high school sweethearts who are still together, and he got in a fight with someone else in his school for also hooking up with his girlfriend in the past. So she may be a hoe. Maybe.
Hoe life.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do out in these streets. Is hard.
Yes, I mean.
So now, granted, hooking up with the daddy boyfriend is that's something. So, anyways, yes, that is that's your TikTok news for today. You're welcome. Yeah. That's what you've been missing out on. And I guess, Matt, have you checked the chat? Is anybody
truly missing that?
Has anybody heard about this yet? Have you looked?
So Epic Mike is in the house. Said, "Oof, that's wild." And I don't see anybody else that said anything about it.
Oh, what's up, Epic Mike?
Yeah,
nice of you to join us, buddy.
Viola 1975 said, "Hey, everyone."
Yeah, it's real wild. So anyways, on to the other news. I guess you guys have heard there have been 2 deaths within Hollywood right now. So basically what's going on is it's come out that Gene Hackman has passed away along with Michelle Trachtenberg.
No, actually, you're right.
Yeah, so you have heard about both of these.
I just have a terrible memory.
Yeah, so both of these situations are pretty interesting. The internet's pretty upset about the Gene Hackman thing just because the dude's been around forever. And it did happen. Well, and I think they both did, right? Or was hers yesterday?
Yesterday.
Late yesterday, maybe?
Yeah. I remember hearing about yesterday.
Yeah, but both of these people have been around Hollywood for a while and in the industry for a while. But Michelle Trachtenberg she has not been in the limelight in quite some time. And honestly, neither is he. They've both been kind of out of the industry a bit. And there were some pictures of her from a little while back recently where she did look a little sickly, but they're not talking about what has happened. And her parents, basically this article that I pulled up that as to why they're not doing it. So her death is considered undetermined. So I don't know that we'll ever know actually what happened with her.
Yeah,
it is sad. She's young.
There was just rumors flying around, like you're saying. Like Zena was literally telling me, she's like, a year ago in my little groups, people were talking about how she was either cancer or
dealing with some kind of eating disorder or drugs or something because she was looking very slim for a while there. So who knows?
I thought they said it was something about she had what I saw, which is weird that I actually saw something. It was that she had like kidney failure, or that she had a kidney transplant in her body, or some organ like a liver. Oh, it was liver. I think it was liver. She had a liver transplant and her body
something failed,
rejected it or something. That's what I saw. Hypothetical. I'm not a doctor.
and he's not a doctor. Notorious for reading very bad news articles, but it could also
and blaming people that shouldn't be blamed.
Yes, making egregious allegations of people. He's been known for a few things. So,
but defamation is in my future, for sure.
But really, it's like she was around for a long time. I think she was one of those childhood stars from when we were kids, and she was just in all sorts of things.
Honestly, like Zena was like, "Oh, so and so passed away." I have no idea who that is. Zena, you got to be a little more detailed than that. She's like, "Eurotrip." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's because I loved Eurotrip. I used to watch it all the time."
And Pete, and I mean, all sorts. The Buffy's one of the big ones. Yeah, she's just been in all sorts of things over the years. So, and then with Gene Hackman, I mean, that dude has a laundry list behind him as well. People are really kind of mourning this one because it really did come out of left field. He is older. I mean, the guy was 95.
But that doesn't explain. But his wife and his dog also dying.
And so that,
and they had 3 other animals that did not die.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Interesting.
The animals did it. That's on the animals.
That's it. Well, so I did pull up an article just over the past couple hours. It did get let out that essentially it is looking like it is being considered suspicious. So there is that. Obviously, we don't know anything yet. My instinct initially, and I said it to Matt when we were texting earlier today, was I was like, sounds like a gas leak, like maybe carbon monoxide or something.
Especially because it was, two and an animal.
Right.
But maybe the animal is acting protective or something like that.
Right. So, yeah, this is suspicious. I hope that they figure out what happened if it is actually something scandalous going on. It's super sad. So,
yeah.
95.
95. He lived a good long life.
He was 95. His wife was only 60 something.
Yes. Yeah, she was 65.
A lot younger. So.
Yeah.
30 years. Attaboy.
Yep. Yep. He doing that Hollywood thing, being able to snag the younger women. So, yeah, but this is sad and a real bummer. Like I said, he's been around a long time, and so both these people, rip, you will be missed.
So, all right.
Yes.
What was your favorite movie of his?
My favorite movie of his, honestly, I went through his catalog, and I don't have I didn't watch a ton of his stuff.
Same.
The thing that stands out the most, honestly, for me is Young Frankenstein.
Okay.
Or Young Frankenstein, which is what I've probably seen the most times out of the things that he's been in. But I'm not really entirely sure. Outside of that, I was kind of looking through the list. I'm like, man, as much as he's been in as many famous films, a lot of them are just not my type of movies that I would have gone to watch.
Same. So I'll answer while Chris looks.
Yeah, just Gene Hackman was in Young Frankenstein.
He was the deaf guy with the sticks. He had a beard. He was almost unrecognizable.
It's been a long time since I've seen that.
Yeah, I was about to say I had no idea he was in that either.
I thought you were thinking.
Then again, I haven't seen that in so long.
Right.
That it doesn't surprise me.
Not Gene Wilder. That's what you were thinking.
I was like, are you sure
No.
you're not mixing up your genes?
Right.
Extra chromosomes going on, man.
Yeah, right.
That might have already happened.
Yeah, he's been in a ton of stuff though, like Behind Enemy Lines, Royal Tenenbaums, The Mexican. Yeah. That's also another one that I loved. I mean, The Replacements was a big one that he was in as well.
The one that when he passed out was The Replacements.
Yeah,
it's like one of the few sport movies I like.
Right.
Then The Longest Yard.
Yep. Keanu sports movies.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. So
Ben Duntley said Unforgiven, which I have not heard of that movie in so long. That is a good one.
I thought he was just saying that we were unforgiven for the fact that we are not well seasoned in Gene Hackman movies. Also, I mean, there are many unforgivable things that we have become rather notorious for at this point. So, like we said, we do not represent the users of Criticalist. So
we're our own nut jobs.
Right.
It's all good people.
So next up, though, I don't know if you guys saw this. It just dropped, but we have our first official look at the Lanterns, at Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan. So did you guys know that the show was happening or anything about it?
Yes, I knew it was happening, and I knew a little bit, but not much. I've tried not to pay too much attention to the teaser stuff until there's actually stuff rolling out.
You didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So this is an upcoming television show that takes place within the new DC universe, and the two stars here, it's going to be Aaron Pierre and Kyle Chandler. Aaron Pierre was top choice for his version of the Green Lantern. A lot of people were wanting him, and he got cast, so he's kind of a fan favorite. Cool. I'm excited about both of these guys. I freaking love Kyle Chandler, so they're going to play Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan. And basically, I think that we're going to see potentially a retiring of Hal Jordan because this is an older Hal, which would make sense though, being that we have a Jon Stewart. But they're saying that this show is actually going to be almost like a True Detective style show, but with Green Lantern characters, because they are like the police of space. So they're solving a crime somewhere on Earth, and basically that they're going to be working together.
Which makes so much sense. And when you're thinking of a Green Lantern and how you would make a movie for them, the problem I feel like with a lot of these kind of DC Marvel properties is that they're trying to be too specific. They're trying to make it too comic booky, where they don't
too large scale. Like solving a crime on Earth sounds great. Small scale. Let's do it.
Whereas the Green Lantern movie was so grandiose and large scale that it hurt itself.
It was also just terrible, but
I don't remember. I don't remember. I remember the villain had ball sacks for a head.
Oh, well,
that's all I remember.
As villains do.
Yep.
Yeah, this everything about this honestly sounds pretty cool. We'll see. Obviously, everyone is hesitant when it comes to the DC reboot and everything. And with James Gunn, you either like James Gunn or you don't. We are all here pretty big James Gunn fans. And Matt and I both really like Creature Commandos. So we're already pretty high on what DC is doing so far. But Chris, you have not seen Creature Commandos either, right?
I have not.
Okay.
Dude.
Yeah.
Still talking about this a couple days ago.
I know we did. We keep talking about it.
He's a I'm an idiot.
You had a whole couple days to watch this. You had days.
The worst. Days and days and days.
Days.
Yeah. So this does sound cool. It is going to be a television show. We don't know yet if it's going to be continuing or what the long-term plans of it are, but obviously this is a good way to get these guys a background and built up these characters before they inject them into the rest of DC.
That's why I was literally just thinking it'd be smart for them to do this show. Then they can do a Lantern Corps movie, because I'm pretty sure they've confirmed that one of the Lanterns is in
Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion is
Guy Gardner.
Is Guy Gardner.
He's the bowl cut. And I don't know if y'all saw, they ran a pretty smart, because everyone made fun of the bowl cut, which is from the comics, but he looks stupid as shit in this movie. But like, he looks absolutely absurd. And they did an ad during the Super Bowl where it was Nathan Fillion with the bowl cut and everything, and he's like, my bowl's not the only one you're going to be watching, and it was a Super Bowl commercial. They're just leaning into how stupid his bowl cut looks. So I'm excited about this. I like this image. I think it's promising. I freaking love Kyle Chandler. I think he's great. So I'm excited for him playing Hal Jordan. I think this could be a really cool show. And I think that it could be cool. It sounds like they're leaning more serious with it. And a lot of these DC stuff is just going to be very tonally different and just all in their own little worlds and ratings. And everything.
DC has such a mixed bag of, their history.
Right.
It's either like,
but now their history is kind of it's now almost a fresh slate.
True.
Gunn stepping in, like
Gunn does.
I'm basing it now based on Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, really, when it comes down to it.
Right.
And by the way, Hal Jordan is going to be in the show as well.
Oh, sweet.
So it's not just the two of them. They just didn't show Hal in the picture.
Okay.
Which because of how he looks and just all of it. And he might be kind of a like second fiddle to these two.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see how they do all that. The last thing I wanted to talk about here is just the news that Zendaya is now going to be in Shrek because she's unavoidable.
She is.
You cannot watch anything without encountering Zendaya at this point. She's just Hollywood seems to think that she's the only woman that we want to see.
Well, luckily, since it's animated, we won't see her.
Right. We'll just hear her. Which, granted, I mean, she's not known for her like exuberant personality.
But she has. So I was agreeing with you.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, so what has she done?
Right.
And I don't know anything about her. She just popped up on my radar in a couple of years, and she's actually done a handful of animated movies. She's a Nickelodeon kid. So she started way back when it was like doing like Nickelodeon kid stuff.
Yeah.
So some of that stuff she has done is voice acting. So she has dabbled over there. And with Shrek 5, all the other cast is coming back.
Yeah.
So hopefully she won't be a wink leak.
Right. Yeah, hopefully so. And I mean, we'll see. I wasn't excited to see this news per se, but I thought the trailer looked pretty good. They leaned into all of the Shrek memes. They're looking into the magic mirror, and they're literally showing all the like wacky, weird like gifs and memes and stuff that Shrek has become known for since the last film. So they're obviously per usual with Shrek playing it very tongue in cheek and comedic. So I mean, we'll see. I'm curious to see how Zendaya is in this. I mean, whatever. I'm kind of indifferent as long as she does a good job with the voice. Then I guess it's fine.
My question is, Shrek has 3 kids.
Right.
Now they've only said her. So what are the other 2? Do you think they're gonna pull other like
big name people?
Tom Holland, Timothy Chalamet.
Almost guaranteed.
They're just doing
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they could. I think that's why they're gonna tease along. I think that's the plan. Is that because I think this comes out this year.
Yes, I'm pretty sure so. I was looking to see if it had the announcement date on here. I figured it'd be in that image, but no, it is. I'm pretty sure this year as well. I don't even think they put it in this article, which is really weird. But
it is weird. But I think what they'll do is maybe like next month release one other kid, and then really drag it out, and then they'll eventually be like, oh, there's also a new villain of some sorts we're doing.
Right. Well, and these movies are notorious for having a ton of celebrities in them. Just tons of
Jonas Campbell is saying that Pedro Pascal and Seth Rogen will voice the other 2.
For sure.
I like that. What up, Jonas? Also, I would honestly pay money to see that. I would definitely watch if the 2 of them were the other voices in this. That would be kind of great.
So you're back on the Seth Rogen bandwagon?
No, his voice, dude. Okay. His voice is like, which I've always loved his comedy up until recent years where he's just gone how he's gone, but his voice and his laugh and whatever, I mean, he could borderline play Shrek.
But he's too him. It's too him,
right?
You know what I mean? Like it used to be where he wasn't that recognizable. You'd be like,
Right.
oh, that is Seth Rogen. But now it's like he's done so many voice roles and things like that.
Right.
I recognize him instantly, and his voice pulls me out of things.
It's kind of like him being in Unbreakable, Invincible. What's the show? The animated show? Invincible. Yeah, he's in that. He's the alien, and it's very clear that it's him.
The
Cyclops
King of
thing.
Space, I think.
It's the Cyclops guy. Yeah. So anyways, that is your news for today. And what we are going to do now is move into what we have been watching lately. Do we have a stinger for that one yet?
We have one for that.
I'll let you pick it then, Matt, because I don't know
what are you doing over there?
I'm just wildly scrolling around.
All right, I'm clicking.
It's a Wild West.
Look at that. Matt put all the stingers in order, and I still couldn't find it.
I told him that before he started. What are you doing?
I'm figuring it out. All right, so now what we're going to be doing is talking about what's streaming, what we've been watching lately, touch in on a few things before we get to our review of Chronicles of Riddick. So, Matt, what have you been watching of late?
Sure. So nothing too crazy for you guys. So I think I was told to watch this through Critic List, and then my son picked it out. Batman: The Bold and the Brave.
Oh yes, yeah.
So it's an older animated series. I think it came out in 2011 or 2012.
Yeah.
And I'd never heard of it. There's 3 seasons of it, and we're in the middle of the first season. It's on Max, and it's interesting. It's very different than the other Batman shows.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like a Justice League show.
Okay.
Because every episode's Batman going and helping somebody else. And it's never Wonder Woman. It's not.
Right. It's the obscure DC characters, like the really weird ones. And
speaking of the weird ones, it's that Green Lantern with the bowl cut.
Yeah.
Multiple episodes are with him. But it's obscure. And it'll be like back in time and different dimensions. Like one episode he's fighting dinosaurs. The next he's in London doing stuff. They're not like tied together in any sort of order. And it's just interesting. My son loves it. He just sits there and he's like, yes.
It's very
cool.
It's very kid, like family friendly, very colorful and bright. It's a good kid show. I watched it a while back.
Yeah.
And I think when Clark was little and liked it.
Jared told me to watch it.
Yeah.
I knew somebody and I was just blanking on this name.
Right.
Sorry, Terrapin. I knew it was you. I did.
Well, where's your review, Terrapin? We do have 2 reviews within Critic List right now. We've got a 90% and 100%, one by Kinzaki 420 and Lord Nayer. Both have given reviews for this. So clearly these 2 like it, and Jared does apparently as well. So.
And I think right now, like I said, I'm only halfway through the first season. We literally have just been watching this for like 2 days now. I'd probably at least give it a high rad currently.
Nice.
If not a low, most excellent. There's no real reason. I don't love the Batman design. It's a little different.
It's more kiddish.
It is, but then it's weird because some of the episodes aren't super kid friendly. Like there was an episode where Batman is fighting a ghost person who's summoning demons from the underworld. Nice. And I was like, this is a little dark. My son was like, look, skeletons. I'm like, yes, skeletons.
You're reading them right.
Exactly.
So it was one of those things where I'm like, this isn't uber kid friendly. Like I wouldn't say like 100%. I'd probably be like 80%. There's some darker material here.
It's not it's PG.
And a second thing that's cool about this show, as I've never seen another show do this, but the first like 30 seconds are a completely self-contained little story.
Okay.
That have nothing to do with anything else. So like I saw one today and it was like a Wild West themed, and somebody was about to get pulled into what's that called? Quartered and by a train and horses, and Batman just shows up in a Western outfit and throws a boomerang and cuts all the ropes, and then he and this other guy jump on a horse and ride off.
Matt, it's a batarang.
That is a batarang.
How could you?
Come on.
Whatever, guys.
Batman lore. So you dig this show though? You like it? This is a good kids cartoon.
Yeah,
and it is on Max.
So. It is, and I'm glad my son keeps being like, yeah, let's watch Batman, because a lot of times the shows he burns out on them.
Right.
A lot of times we won't get through a season, and he just doesn't want to come back to it. But
yeah.
so far, he has eaten this one up. So
yeah, it's cool. It's a good one for those with younger kids, but honestly, adults can enjoy it too. It's a fun show. So, Chris, what you seen lately?
Not a lot.
Same here.
Since last week, I've restarted watching Clone Wars because I've never watched all of it.
I struggle with it every time I try. Every time.
I made the mistake of watching Rebels first, and Rebels is just so much better than Clone Wars. I hate to break it.
We're gonna catch some hate for that. There are people that hate Clone Wars, but not Clone Wars, but hate Rebels. But I love it as well. Yeah. We're big fans.
It's better in my opinion, but it's good. It's quick little episodes. They're only like 15-20 minutes, and just powering through it. And
yeah,
it there's a lot of like sketchy things that they should do with the Force and whatnot. Where it's just like poor writing, but I mean, it's like a kid show, so you can't be too hard on it.
Yeah,
but it's good, it's enjoyable. But that's literally the only thing I've been watching in the past.
Well, I mean, there's what, like 10 plus seasons of it or something
it's a
like
lot.
that. It's a
movie,
lot.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's how they wrapped it up, right?
It was
like, we need to do a movie.
And I will say one of the things that I found, and it helped me when trying to watch the Clone Wars, if you're one of those that's come back and forth and just couldn't stick with it, there are like definitive lists online where, because the big issue with a lot of people in Clone Wars is it's told completely out of order and all kinds of wonky, and with the movies and everything.
True.
It's so if you go online, you can find some of these like definitive watching lists, and it does help you to be like, oh, that's what's going on. Because I don't know what they were thinking when they put that show out and the order that they did. It's wild.
Yeah.
I just assumed, well, back then we didn't have streaming. It was just you caught it on TV. So I guess their mindset was, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, they're just going to watch it on TV.
Right.
And they'll see it when they see it. And then they'll buy the DVDs at some point if they really care, I guess.
Right.
Because it is weird. And that was my problem with it too.
Yeah.
Like, I had a hard time watching it. So I watched it while I just sat and played Titanfall 2. I was just sitting there playing and I would have it up, just kind of semi-watching it, because that was about as much as I could like follow it,
Right.
and care.
Jonas Campbell, by the way, says to skip Droid Squad. I don't know exactly what that is, but he says to skip it. So
okay.
I guess we need to skip that one. So and he also said the first season was rough, and I do agree, because that's where I get stuck every single time.
So I just made it through, so I'm gonna keep on powering on. I've just been on a Star Wars kick, you know.
Right. Yeah. Jonas wasn't expecting us to put him on blast, but it's gotten more fun that we can do it now, so we get excited with the super chat.
Oh yeah.
We've just been pre-recording everything for so long.
Speaking of that.
Yeah, and we can touch back in really quick on Planet X as well. He said Planet X for a $5 said the bowl cut for Green Lantern is BS. Look at the first issues with Guy Gardner and Green Lantern. He had a normal haircut. The bowl cut is not original. So I didn't realize that, but also I didn't ever read much Green Lantern. I wasn't a big I was kind of one of those. I liked Green Lantern in the cartoons and that sort of thing, but I never read much of it. But they did do the bowl cut thing later, which is, I'm guessing, obviously what they're basing off of. I don't know the logic behind why they would do that, unless they are just kind of playing the character for jokes.
Sure.
So that might end up offending fans of that specific version.
Yeah. That was the thing. So in that show, the Batman show where he shows up, he's actually like a really serious character.
Right.
Just because he has a bowl cut makes him look funny. I think that's supposed to like cut how harsh he is.
Right. I remember
very,
that too.
Like because I mean, since the Green Lantern Corps is a police force and a detective force, he's very like, I'm a by the rules like detective.
Right.
I will do what's right by the rules.
Right. Yeah, but anyways, back to Clone Wars. I'm curious to see if you keep going or if you fall off or where. There's so much of that show.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you do that kind of with most things.
Time, with everything.
Yeah.
Literally every
video games.
I just
you know, you'll read like one page of a book and be like, this is too much.
I don't know how to read it.
Oh, that's right.
It's funny you bring that up, because I was going to mention, like, I haven't been watching a lot of movies, but I have been listening to books. And I just started, not Red Dawn, I always want to call it
Rising?
Red Rising. I finally finished all my Star Wars books. So
yeah.
I'm
Have you
only
made
like
it far?
an hour in,
Okay.
to the first.
To anyone that doesn't know, Red Rising is easily one of Matt and I's favorite book series of all time. I think one of them's probably behind Matt. Is there one?
Yeah, right there. The first one.
Yep.
Red Rising.
So if you have not read the Red Rising series, they are phenomenal. Absolutely do that, because they're so good. The Red Rising series is one of the best ever. They sold the rights a while back, and we've been waiting to see if they would end up making a TV show or movie or something. But if you're really, I don't even want to spoil too much, but it is very much a sci-fi thing. It's very libertarian-esque in its writing as far as how they problem solve and deal with things, and it deals with class war, but in a very intelligent and interesting way in a far-flung future.
It's just fucking awesome.
It really is.
It is. It really is. And there's the trilogy, and then there's a second trilogy, and I think he's still going. Yeah. And I mean, the first trilogy is perfect. You can stop there. The second trilogy definitely takes the characters in a different way. And
it's also still quite good and loved by fans, which is a good place to be. It's hard to do a sequel series like that and have it be successful, and it has been very successful. Yep. So definitely read the Red Rising series if you have not.
Or listen,
which I definitely recommend as well. Do both.
Yeah.
Right. Simultaneously.
Yeah.
Listen to it while you read it.
We have and join on Criticalist. Join the we have a book club actually group within the app that I think Matt's wife runs.
She sure
and
does.
It stays really active. A lot of book recommendations. I got some people to actually read Red Rising, and have loved it. Actually, Chick Ginger, who used to be in the app all the time, you're missed wherever you are, Chick Ginger.
Yeah, she hears us.
Yeah, she literally blew through the entire book in a day because she enjoyed it so much. So, yeah, if that tells you anything. But I guess what I will talk about really quick, and it's really about the only thing that I have watched recently, is Mythic Quest. Now, I don't know if anybody else is familiar with Mythic Quest, but we have a new season. Season 4 is live. So it's all up there and out and about. So you can check it out. It is on Apple TV Plus. They'll end up subscribing for a little bit and kind of chug through whatever the new stuff is, and then unsubscribe for a while, because it's not like a super dense platform, but the stuff that they have is quite often very good. With Mythic Quest, I've loved this show. I've referenced it on the podcast before, but I really like it. This is a comedy show created by Rob McElhenney, who's from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He's in it, and actually this is written and produced and everything by a lot of this Always Sunny's crew, including Charlie Day, and the biggest one being David Hornsby, who is known for being Rickety Cricket in Always Sunny. So yeah, I'm on season 4. It's pretty good. It's okay so far. I'm only about 3 in. I'm not like madly in love, but this is one of those shows that has like 20 to 30 minute long episodes. They're very easy to watch. So it's like you just pop it on, laugh at it, and have fun. Like there are some things, people who are more sensitive to the more just kind of wokey leaning stuff, they do tiptoe into some of that. But the interesting thing here is that Rob McElhenney is also very aware of a lot of that with Always Sunny. Like Always Sunny's never gone that route, and it's like he's aware of both sides of the conversation. So it does have a good job of, he does there is a takedown of this person, this lesbian girl, who that is her entire identity, that is who she is, what she is, and she's just very much into the victimhood narrative, all this stuff. And he's in a car with her, and he basically just calls her out on the victimhood stuff and just gives her like the most boss ass lecture I've ever seen in anything. And I was just like, I can't believe that this came out of Hollywood. Like, this is wild. And so there is enough stuff like that you're like, okay, like this is well done. Yeah. But I will say that there are 2 characters that are one of the lesbian characters that I'm mentioning, and her girlfriend. They're the most obnoxious people in the show, and I borderline can't stand them. But luckily, no one else in the show can stand them either. So it does help.
You're justified.
Yeah, it is justified. I'm like, okay, it's not just me. Yeah. So. But yeah, it is a good show, and if you have not seen it, I would definitely say to check that out for sure. It's a fun one. So yeah, but that's all I've really seen. I don't know if there was anything you wanted to mention, Matt.
The only other thing is I saw the first episode of season 3 of Reacher.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Were you happy with it? I think a lot of people are watching it.
Yeah, it's good. There was 2 other episodes. We just haven't had a chance. We would have blown through it if we had the time, but we just haven't had the time recently.
Right.
So,
and that's one of those.
There's more I think coming out. I think a 4th episode's already dropped also.
I thought the whole season, or no, that was right.
Yeah, they dropped 3, and then I don't know if they're dropping 1 a week after that or what the drop count was, but.
And according to Kyle Off Script, who comes on the show he said that they've ratcheted up kind of the violence and action in this, and it's better. So
he gave it a good sell.
He did.
I will say in the first episode, they did not really step anything up so far.
But I did also see that I think actually Bookstore Thor, if he's still in here in the chat, he had mentioned in the app actually when we were talking about the show that said that they've kind of ratcheted up his autisticness, and he said that he is not a fan of the fact that they're leaning into that even harder.
That's my complaint so far. There's a lot of, and it's the cinematography. They'll literally put the camera like up here, and they do some sort of like semi-fish lens where it makes his eyes kind of look like they're coming out. And this is a good-looking dude.
You're right.
Like, Alan Richardson's a good-looking dude.
Right. Sure.
And they're like, and he's like stares. And you can tell he's like computing or something. I'm just like,
when they do it, you just hear like,
right. And they did this in the last season, and I didn't like it. And they are indeed doing it again this season. And I'm just like, he's not autistic.
Right.
Like,
he's just smart.
He's just a loner that does his own thing. This is very much kind of like a Rambo-esque kind of character.
Right.
PTSD. Like, I just don't understand why that's how they're going with it.
I'd love to see him like pivot his character into like a Bill Skarsgård kind of like doing the eye thing.
Where they
also it sounds like rather that they're actually kind of making him more into a Sherlock situation, like from the BBC Sherlocks, where like he's spectrum-y, but like super smart and like solves everything. Because he is still like a detective, like he's a cop detective person. Right. So,
he was a military police for his whole career, and then just went on and did his own thing. And he is not hyper. I can't remember what they call Sherlock, but he's not like hyper observant, but he's observant enough, and he puts enough pieces together. To, like,
he's Sherlock adjacent for sure, at the very least.
Right.
Maybe that's why they're doing it.
Yeah. And Reacher is an Amazon original. If you have not seen it before, it's kind of this like it's a mystery per season kind of a show, and then sometimes there's mini mysteries within there, but definitely one worth checking out. Everybody really loved season 1. People were kind of lukewarmish, but still liked season 2. And then this new season, it sounds like people are still just waiting to see kind of how it pans out. So
I mean, I'm still on board.
Yeah.
I still really like it. And I know I've read a lot of the books. And so I'm remembering this as we're watching. I'm like, man, there are going to be some awesome fight scenes.
Yeah.
As there always are. And they are, especially in the first season, there were a lot of really gritty, in your face, quick fight scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for the rest of the season.
Nice. Well, if you have watched Reacher and have seen the earlier seasons or watching this one, make sure to leave your review within Criticlist. Same for all the other shows we've been talking about. Just make sure to do that within Criticlist. Go leave your reviews, and you can even go and talk about them in the water coolers. That's another thing that we don't really promote as much. I think is going to grow more as it goes along with as Criticlist grows. But water coolers are a feature that is on every page within Criticlist. If you've never seen them before, I've got the Mythic Quest one pulled up. No one's probably done one, but essentially it is a message board where you can just go and talk about whatever is that current show or item that you were on. So you can go into the water cooler and talk about stuff if you're not quite ready to do a review. So that's just an option for you if you are on Criticlist. And we did have some super chats here, so I'll go ahead and pop one of those up. But we had a last call with Troy Pacelli. He gave us a $5. Thanks, buddy. But he says Criticlist needs memberships, and that means 355 more subs. And actually, we can already do them. I got a message today. We can do memberships. So we can go ahead and add them.
So then, everybody, this is a question that you and I had kind of played around with.
Yes.
What do you guys want from a membership?
Right. Do you want like membership streams? Do you want us to like one a month, 2 a month, whatever? Or like here and there where we do maybe like a news segment that's for a big thing that we do live and kind of engage in that sort of thing, or just some different type of show that we add in as a bonus, but then we'll also do some gifts and other things that we can add in there as well. So yes, we do need to add them and we can do them, but he said, let's make it happen. Subscribe, share out the stream. Definitely do that. It is something that I'm bad about telling everybody or reminding you to do, is make sure to do that. Give us that sub down below if you have not subscribed yet. Throw us the likes, the comments, share it on other socials. It really helps this channel grow. And right now we are in YouTube jail because that is where we love to be. So yeah, so let's go ahead and get in those subs, because it will tell YouTube that people are definitely still watching and loving what we are doing. And then Planet X also gave us a twofer and said Reacher is boring and meaningless. Wow. Sorry. Wow. So yeah, strong opinions there about some Reacher. And, you know, I can see Reacher not being some people's cup of tea. I've not had my wife watch it with me just because I could tell that it was not going to be her vibe. Yeah. So there are just some shows that are like that some people just aren't going to be into. And hey, you know, that's your bag. And if you don't like it, feel free to go review it on criticalist.com.
Feel free to go.
Go fuck yourself. If it was Pacific Rim, then I would definitely say, thanks for the $2. Go fuck yourself. Yeah. We only defend Pacific Rim to that degree. So, but yes, definitely go leave your review on the site for that as well. But so I think, guys, that is going to be it for what we have been watching lately, and we can go ahead and move on into our spoiler-free review of this movie. The Chronicles of Riddick. We are going to figure out these bumpers one of these days. I had my finger on it. I was like, it wasn't working.
I didn't know if you were going to do it, and you like paused to like think about the movie name. I was like, I'm just going to give you a break.
Yeah, no, you're good. My brain was like,
because you were so upset by the comment about the Reacher.
The Reacher
just restarted also. So
we're doing great. Well, I think that the problem for me was that I had a Reacher and Riddick thing like happening in my brain where they were competing for the same word, and so I was gonna call it like an amalgamation of the two or something. It was gonna get real wacky. The Reacher round.
There it is.
I like it. So yes, this is gonna be our spoiler-free review of the Chronicles of Riddick, not to be confused with just Riddick, because that is the third film in the franchise, which I didn't think I had seen until I went and looked at thumbnails, and I was like, nope, that's actually the one that I remember the most. So yes, I mean, Matt, you've seen these recently and quite a bit, correct?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I had to delete my review so nobody could go on what I thought.
You coward,
right?
No, I'm still sticking to my score.
He's just hiding them behind the.
Wine was just like, hey, you should probably just go ahead and remove it.
All right. We have enough users now. You'll probably get more likes on it now than you had before. Just
because it was one of my early things. Because you know, when early in the days, I was like, what do I like? You review everything I like.
Right. So that was one of them.
Yeah.
So so you can definitely hang out if you're in the chat and not worry about us spoiling it. If you haven't seen it, granted, this came out in 2004. So if you haven't seen it yet, honestly, a little surprising. But like I said, when I was mentioning things that my wife wouldn't like, this is one of those. So this wasn't one of those where I was like, hey, you want to watch this movie with me that we're watching at home? No, didn't even bother. So this movie, though, is directed by David Tuoli, who I was not familiar with, but he really doesn't have like a super deep catalog. Yeah. And he's mostly done these Reacher movies. And I looked, and the reason that I brought up the thing about there potentially being another is actually because his name was on that for a film that was planned to come out.
Yeah, there's been a lot of ongoing discussion and rumors. I mean, they've been continuously talking about Furia, which is the working title, for a while now. And I think somebody just commented in Criticlist, maybe in the water cooler. I think it was in the water cooler. They were like, "What do you guys think?" And I'm like, "I'm here for it.
Right,
I'm ready." Let's roll.
And he wrote it. And now, if you did not see the first film, Pitch Black, it is wildly different from this movie. To the point that it almost doesn't even feel like the same thing. It was very small scale, indie, lower budget, just about like this guy that has cat eyes, essentially, that can see at night, but not good in the daytime. And he's just a Billy Badass. And he goes around and he's a fugitive in this one that was in Pitch Black that was captured. And then essentially he gets free, and the people that were kind of on his ship with him, he helped them to escape and get free. But from what I remember, only like 2 people actually made it out of there alive. And both of those characters are carrying over into this film.
Wow, talk about a spoiler for the
kidding.
No, you were literally just spoiling the last movie. You just spoiled Pitch Black for anybody who hasn't seen it.
We're talking about the sequel. How do you
talking about the first movie.
How do you talk about the sequel without talking about the first movie? You got a real problem.
He didn't have to say how many people live. Well, you don't know who though, so I'll give it to you.
I guess
so, I didn't say who.
Yeah, exactly. So and also the movie is like friggin' 25 years old. So
yeah, but we have a lot of young people that haven't
we
seen
do
this
have
kind of stuff.
Oh, it's surprisingly enough.
People are like, why do we need spoilers for old movies? Because there's young people that haven't seen this stuff.
And also, this is spoiler free.
Yeah, we are spoiler free.
We are, which I was surprised recently because we are getting these younger users in the app, and we're getting people talking about how they've never seen The Matrix and they've never seen like these tentpole movies of our childhood, but it's because we're old as shit. That's really what's happening.
Especially Bland.
Yeah. 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 Your birthday's in what, like a week, 2 weeks?
We're not talking about me right now.
Yeah. This is put the focus on me. So, but yeah. So with this movie, it technically does follow up to Pitch Black, but you could not see Pitch Black and be okay.
Yeah,
for sure.
So it wouldn't hurt you. It would help, but even no, that's a spoiler. I won't say that. Okay, never mind. You guys have already busted my chop. So, and if you are watching this and curious if you were wanting to watch it, it is on Prime Video right now. So most people, I think, at this point have it. I think it's also on Stars, but I was going to tell y'all. So I took a risk. I did something really risky, and I watched the director's cut. Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that was a thing.
It's 2 hours and a half long, baby.
Oh, extra 30 minutes. All right.
Yeah, it's an extra 30. So I'm guessing, Matt, you probably did, or you did watch that one
too.
You probably own it.
I own it digitally and physically. So
if that doesn't tell you how Matt feels about the movie, I don't know what does.
Under his pillow.
Yeah. It's like I bought it physical in high school.
Wow.
And then Zena and I were like, man, we want to watch this again.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, well, we're just going to go ahead and buy digital. So we had Riddick also, since we didn't own Riddick at the time. Then we have all of them. And I have the animated one also.
Oh,
there's technically a 4th movie. That's like an hour long animated movie.
Oh, wow. I didn't really, I forgot that they had a series. You said a series? Was that the animated movie?
There's not a television series, but there is there's an animated movie that they did, but then also, and I actually saved it here, there was a very well-known video game called Escape from Butcher Bay. And then also they did one following up to that, which was called Assault on Dark Athena, where they remade Butcher Bay and then also did another new game. But I never played it, but I heard great things about them. Supposedly they were amazing. And you were basically just Riddick escaping from a prison. And actually in this movie, he references the events of that video game in the film when he's captured at one point in this movie.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And he mentioned something about Butcher Bay. So but it is there's a lot to this. The people involved with it, Vin Diesel specifically, is very, very passionate about it. Watching it, I was kind of like, I had forgotten a lot about this movie,
Yeah,
in all honesty, and I hadn't seen it in probably like 100 years, because that's clearly how old the movie is. But
Clearly.
I mean, it came out, like we said, back in 2004, so we were all in either high school or middle school. So
Yeah.
I think Matt was in middle, but
I was in,
yeah. So
yeah.
but the thing about this is this
Young blood.
little baby. But yeah, this movie is like Warhammer 40K meets like Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon meets Fast and Furious meets Dune meets like, it's just a mashup of a bunch of shit. Like,
Yeah.
and honestly, after seeing this, like after Rebel Moon and Zack Snyder have kind of come to fame, I was like, oh wow, this is like borderline. Like this could be in the world of Rebel Moon. Now, for some people, that could come across as extraordinarily offensive because a lot of people hate those movies. But this movie's real dirty, real brown. It is very Snydery.
Well, that's something he did with Pitch Black also.
Right.
Pitch Black was very like bright. It was like whitewashed.
Yeah.
And then it was like blackwashed.
Because
it was pitch black. Yeah. Because it was like nighttime. And that was the first movie. That's part of it. The first one being an art house movie was that it was so stylized. And then this one, like you're saying, was the same also. And I think they were just trying to show us how these different planets look under different lights.
Yeah, they definitely went for a vibe with this, and it's super sci-fi fantasy. This is really out there. If you were not into like the nerdy, weavy sci-fi stuff, like there's a good chance this movie will not be your vibe, because it really, I mean, there are space wizards and magic and
especially when you watch the uncut extended one. Yeah, because they cut out all of like the wizardry stuff.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
So, so much of like the uniqueness about like why he's from, his planet, and like being a unique being and all that. That's not in the theatrical cut.
That sounds like a smart move.
It is. No, they were smart to cut it, but also it's fun to see for world building purposes.
Well, because that's the thing. So, like in the first one, the world is so small, you don't know anything about it. This one, they're like, we have the loftiest of dreams. Our dreams are way out in outer space. It's the biggest of dreams. And you're like, you might be batting outside of your realm here. You're really shooting for the stars for this one. You're like trying to compete with Star Wars or something, like with lore and just the depth of it. Now, Chris watched, I'm guessing, the original version, which is probably the free one that was online. So yeah, I almost did, and then I recalled, because Kyle off script, he was a mega fan of this back in the day and loved it, and he had the director's cut. That was the one he insisted on watching. It was the best version, all that stuff. So I was like, I think I need to take his advice on this one, then, since he was the mega fan, and watch that one. So yeah, it will be interesting between the two. But so guys, where do you sit with the Chronicles of Riddick? We know where Matt sits, so might as well just go ahead and air that out, and to let the folks know how bad you hate it.
Let them know.
I give this a 90%.
90?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's a most excellent for me, and that's what I had it before I deleted my review, and I still stand by that.
You stand by it.
Watching it with a clean slate.
Yeah.
This was a director's cut, which I don't think is better than the theatrical cut. I think the theatrical cut is better.
It's probably a tighter film.
It is, and they cut out some stuff that's like world building about Riddick and like his history, and it just wasn't really needed. So
it also, and I don't know exactly what was added, but there's some really kind of borderline weird stuff with like his past and turning him into like a chosen one kind of a character, and
which that is in the original. It's just not the more mystical elements.
Was the lady that? Nope. Okay, so she's
not in that at all.
There's a magical wind woman that.
Oh no, she's in it.
Oh, okay.
No. I'm talking about the one that he sees
in
while
the
he's
visions.
like, yes, she's not in it at all.
Okay.
Yeah, the elemental is.
Okay, so she's in it because they have apparently like elemental type characters. They really go for they go for it all in this movie. So yeah. So okay, 90? So cool. So you're giving it a 90. This is a most excellent.
Oh yeah, I stick by my guns. I've watched this movie more than a dozen times.
Yeah,
both the theatrical.
I mean, it's a badass movie.
And it has been since forever, like since high school when I first saw this.
Yeah,
I stick to my guns, and though I give it 10% off because some of the CGI is pretty bad.
Some of it feels like a video game.
Some people would call it egregious.
No, it's not egregious. There's way worse CGI and other things. You're wrong.
I mean, I have seen worse CGI. I will give you that.
That's what I was saying. I don't think this is egregious. So
there's just a lot
of
CGI.
Than just CGI. So there's a scale.
So yeah. And then like for me, some of the armor felt fake.
Okay.
Some of it was like cool, and then they would get close, and I was like, this feels like set armor.
Right.
looks cool. And I literally was like, I want to wear that shit. I want to walk around my house in that stuff.
Right, with like razor blades on your shoulders and like
giant saw blades coming out.
A helmet with like 4 heads all the way around it.
Right. And a giant triple axe, just all sorts of cool. And like the knife he uses the whole time. It's like, this is the most impractical thing I've ever seen, but it's so cool looking. If you're
Clearly, you're not a fan of aesthetic. That's all it is, man.
Just the vibe.
I just have a really awesome, brutal aesthetic.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much
you don't like it. You said you didn't like the
No.
He just said it felt a little fake.
It feels fake. Like watching it on the big screen.
Yeah.
I was like, this.
You couldn't feel the weight of it. It's probably what it was.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. It was like, this looks plasticky. So that was like the only reason I've knocked off points.
Wow.
I enjoyed the story through and through.
Yeah.
I get there are some things that are a little like, but for me, I'm just like, it works, especially after the first movie. With this being a sequel, it's already set up some of his like abilities to be more like hyper observant and kind of like in the Reacher, where he's able to like connect the dots in ways of how people think, especially when it comes with like tombs and all that. So that's just how I've always like perceived this movie.
Yeah.
There is a lot of I was not back then when I saw this a fan of Warhammer 40K. There's a lot of Warhammer 40K vibes in this. Like, there are weird half-dead human people that they talk through as telephones to one another across space. Very Warhammer 40K vibes. There's a lot of it's the morbidness of it that it feels 40K to me. There's a lot of like death and just that kind of like techno spiritualist element that is in this. That is a very Warhammer thing, which also feels very, very Vin Diesel, because he is, I would be willing to bet he plays Warhammer. He definitely plays D&D.
Right.
So I don't know, does he though? Because I've never heard him come out and say it. We have people like Joe Manganiello that comes out and like says, like, he's like proud. Right. We have Henry Cavill, like proud nerds in these realms. And I've never heard Vin Diesel come out and say that. And so I feel like he doesn't. He's just like, is this badass? Because I will do it.
Right.
And then he did Riddick early on and was like, this is badass. This is a badass character, which it is. And he's like, I'm going to carry this franchise. Like he has the Fast and Furious.
Right.
They just haven't given him enough green lights. Because he would have done this with what he did with Fast and Furious. Hopefully on a better scale. But
so before we get more in the weeds, Chris, so
sorry.
I want to hear what Chris thinks about this. I'm very interested. I mean, so where do you rank this, Chris?
I mean, it's a classic for me. It's like high school embodied, and I forgot how darn cheesy it is. But you know, for what it is, it's still enjoyable. It definitely is. It took a hard turn from Pitch Black. Like, if you're going into this movie expecting Pitch Black Part 2, it's not that at all. Like, so it was a big detour from that portion of it. But you know, I appreciate what they're trying to do with the universe. They have great ideas. It is ambitious.
Yeah.
They didn't have the resources, I think, to execute it properly. I would love to see it rebooted these days. I know that's kind of a sketchy thing. It could be bad, but I wanted to see like revamped. I always use Rogue One as like a milestone kind of like a standard, because they did such a good job with Rogue One compared like from where they were with the prequels for Star Wars. You know, like there was such a huge leap in quality. It was like a good quality movie. Yeah. So I would love to see them do that with this, like dump some money into it and revamp this universe, because I enjoy the aspects of it. The weird thing though, like, so the one, I guess, caveat I have to your comparison to 40K is that the weird thing is that everybody is human.
Right.
And that feels a little weird. Like
for a space thing.
It's like,
well, also we have like space Muslims.
Well, yeah.
What?
That's their whole planet. To me, it's more about like
that one planet, the first planet that they go to are like openly, it's like a Muslim planet. And that's part of the first film's plot, which I had forgotten about, is that one guy that he was saving was a Muslim guy. And it's just a very weird element to this series that feels like, why not just make up a religion that kind of feels like...
Well, they never say it's Muslim.
No, they do.
Do they?
Yeah.
I do not remember them ever saying in either movie what his religion was.
It does. I read a bunch of the like wikis and conversations on people. Like, it's been dissected. They're openly that. So yeah, which is also just an interesting approach. But yeah,
it is.
And it kind of throws in like reality into it. Yeah. Like it's based on
I mean,
Earth.
The whole like humans and like you were saying, where it's all like human based. I think they're just trying to make it relatable, but also not like, I don't know, Christian based, maybe.
Right.
Because a lot of times we do see like Christians and stuff.
Right.
Whereas this was like they're trying to be like
A different
in some
religion,
way,
and
I
yeah,
guess.
no,
I
it
don't
totally
know.
works.
Yeah. I mean,
Which your biggest thing was just that they were actually humans. There are no aliens in this world, which
there was
is
no prosthetics,
except for their alien dog
they're
things in
seekers
this,
or whatever. Yeah.
they're which I'm guessing are from his planet.
I don't think they're aliens. I think those are humans that were just more.
Yeah.
Oh,
I feel like
'cause-
everybody in this is humans that have
Yeah.
been mutated in some way.
That was my
Interesting.
thought too. And maybe there are other planets because as we know, there are other elemental planets somewhere.
True.
So and like Furians are supposedly like a different kind of breed also.
Right.
So I think there are different like versions of humans, but I did think
Yeah.
it was like an all human like
a world
Yeah.
or universe.
Yeah.
Which I'm
But-
getting a little too deep into
Right.
this.
So where do you sit
Overall,
with this?
how I like it.
Yes,
I would
rating
put it
wise.
into, I'd say a 75.
Okay,
I'd say somewhere in that range.
nice. So you're
Yeah.
still being fair to it.
Yeah, I'm
you
still-
really
yeah.
like deep sci-fi
I
stuff.
I
Very
enjoy what they were trying to
Right.
do. The CGI is atrocious. That's why I want to see it revamped. But the practical effects I enjoyed. Like I enjoyed the armor design, like
Yeah.
the world design. It all felt real-ish.
Yeah.
But the CG was just like egregious.
yeah, there's a
Stick
lot.
with
There
it.
is a lot of it. There's a
It's
lot of
bad.
CG in certain points that are just kind of okay.
Yeah.
But also, like we said, the resources versus their ambitions for this, like their ambitions were through the roof, and
Yeah.
it was like clear, like they're trying to do something really epic, get a
Yeah.
lot of people's attention. And I mean, in a way, they did. This has become a cult classic. Granted, the reason that we are reviewing it is because the critics hated the absolute shit out of this movie.
Well,
Uh,
as we
so-
all know, they are wrong.
Yeah, they are regularly
Really?
wrong.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll go ahead and give my upfront as far as a score ranking with where I sit with this.
Yeah.
After seeing it, I didn't remember a whole lot from this movie specifically. Honestly, I didn't know that I did see the director's cut like the 1 or 2 times that I saw it back in the day.
Okay.
But I'll say I think this movie's fine. I
Yeah.
don't love it. I think that this movie could be called like One-Liner the movie. Like, dude, Vin Diesel's one-liners, like you could see them coming from a mile away, and you're just like, oh, he's gonna say
I
that.
don't say it.
And he does.
Do it.
He says the exact thing you're thinking, and you're just like, damn, bro, like you went there, you took it there. There is some serious cheese to this movie, but some of it is in a cool way. This is a big, dumb action popcorn movie. This is gonna be one of those, like, in a sense, I don't, because of how broken Rotten Tomatoes is and how their scores work and all of that stuff, I get why it has the score that it has, but I don't think that it deserves that low of a score because
Yeah.
it's very deceptive. Where it's like,
Yeah.
because of the fact that they work on that good or bad scale, and it's like either critics blow a certain marker above it and they either get that thumbs up or thumbs down, of course it's going to get that. Where it's like,
Right.
if all the critics gave it like a 50% or lower, then, or actually it's way higher than that, it's like 70 or whatever. So it's like, it makes sense that they ended up bombing this, which sucks because it's not fair. Where it's like, even if the more pretentious movie viewers were like, look, it's a little messy, the CG is not quite there even for the time, like
Right.
there's too many one-liners, it's hokey, we know that the critics don't like the hammy popcorn, like just fun ass movies, which is kind of what this movie was going for, but also like it's not the best movie ever. It's fine, like it's okay, it's
Exactly.
cool. I'd put it at like a 65.
Okay.
I still have it in rad territory. I'm not
Yeah.
putting it in decent. Like
Yeah.
I don't think this is a bad movie.
Yeah.
The director's cut is too long. Like it does not need to be 2.5 hours. That was part of my problem.
They were trying hard to build a world. I'm
Yes.
pretty sure. Yeah, you said it cuts out like 20 some minutes, and a
It's
lot
like a
of
full
it's from
30 minutes.
early on. That's
Yeah.
the thing is a lot of it's from early.
Really.
on.
And yeah, this movie at 2 hours and 30 minutes feels way too long. And
Yeah.
if you go online, everybody will tell you like the definitive edition is the director's cut and it's better in every way. I don't think it is. Like, I think that they probably made a really smart decision by cutting this movie down.
Yeah.
Because by 2.5 hours, I was like, oh shit, is this ever going to end? Like, this is like, we're real deep into this and shit's weird.
It's funny, like literally one of the first things I wrote down on my notes when watching this was I saw the duration of the movie and I was like, 2 hours is too long for this movie. So 2.5 hours would 100% be too long for this movie.
Right.
No, yeah.
So yeah, it was 2.5 hours was too long. But I will say that this movie still, it's a fun ride. I think definitely go for that free one that's on Amazon or whatever. Don't go for the longer one. But it is just a deep hardcore sci-fi. If you're not into weird space wizardry and just strange weird stuff, you're probably not going to like this.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also if you've seen any Vin Diesel movie, all of Vin Diesel movies are the same in different settings. It's he cares about somebody and he's going to do something to protect them.
Yeah.
Like
And
all
be
of
an
them.
ass about it.
Even like the Fast and Furious franchise is the first everyone thinks about, with the Triple X, he did 2 Triple X movies. He did The Pacifier,
Right.
which is a kids movie about
Mm.
him being like a spy protecting kids. Like all of his movies that I have seen, anyways,
Mhm.
are all very similar with what they
Right.
are.
And he's
And
notoriously like hammy.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Oh,
his
yeah.
vibe.
He's just a big ham in that.
He's like
one-linered it up.
Yeah, he's like, I'm buff and I say stupid shit. Like,
And I kick ass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, really,
Right.
and that's it, this is more of that. If you're not into his vibe and like what he does in other things, you're not gonna feel it here. I mean, that's pretty much it's kind of what it is. But it also makes sense why this is a cult classic that it is, because it has such lofty ambitions. It is a very, very ambitious movie, so I give it props for that. But before we move into our spoiler discussion on this, I did want to pop up. We had a twofer from Doyle Status, and he says, "Hope you guys do one of these for 28 years later, and we will definitely be doing a live stream for that movie. So expect us here for that. We are big fans of 28 Days Later. I don't know how these guys feel about 28 Weeks. I was never a fan. Or well, actually, Matt is not a big fan.
Yeah.
Matt doesn't like them because
You don't even like 28 Days?
No, they're both boring shit. Everybody's so wrong about this franchise, and everyone eats it up like.
All right, guys, chat, just light his ass up for this. This is blasphemous
Go read
statements
my
at this
reviews.
point.
My opinion is out there, and I wrote that shit down.
That's honestly worse than Blaine's opinion of Airplane. Like, I can,
Well, he has the same opinion of airplanes. So.
And that's fine. But 28 Days Later is the high mark, the pinnacle of zombie
It's
movies.
really not.
It's
really
pretty
is.
great.
Yeah,
It's pretty
not.
fantastic. Well, we will discuss that when we discuss the other. But
So it was also being suggested maybe this can be part of the membership or something where we can do like.
He wants us to discuss 28 Days and Weeks.
Yeah.
So maybe what we could do is a prequel. We could watch Days and Weeks, discuss them in a unit like review.
Yeah.
And then following that, we'll do we could do that for like a member live stream and then do a official review for the new movie. So we'll definitely be watching the new movie without a doubt.
For sure.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Watch Matt love the new one and think that it's awesome.
Maybe it's the same director and everything.
Yeah.
But I really doubt that's going to happen. So if you want to come for hot takes, come check us out because I'm going to have them.
But before we do anything, we are going to review SLC Punk, which is what El Capitan said he was coming in here to see if we were reviewing, and he said Riddick, boo. So sorry, buddy, we didn't do SLC Punk, but we talked about that earlier.
Too.
I definitely want to talk about that one. So I think now what we're going to do is move into our spoiler discussion of the Chronicles of Riddick. I about said 28 days later, and that is not what we are going to be talking in spoiler discussion.
So 28 days of Reacher later.
Yes. We're going to move into My Brain is Soup. And on that note, let's talk about some spoilers. Chris was going to talk during the bumper, and it was so short that he was like, ugh.
Hey, you get like 5 seconds, and Chris was like, I'm going to say something real quick.
You have a whole millisecond to talk, so maybe we need to make our bumpers longer.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'll learn.
Yeah,
for the people, Chris.
Yeah,
I was just gonna point out all our super chats that you missed.
Oh yeah, we have been having a lot of chats happening in here, and we've had some new people popping in and out.
Small Capitan.
Yeah, and Scaviola that we've got. We had El Capitan pop in with a super chat. His slipped past me before I got to the other, but he said, "Here's a $1.99 for you cheap whores to read this." So we did read it. We are whores.
No, we need to be reading like $2 and up.
Yeah.
I'm not that cheap. $1.99. What is this? The Dollar Tree?
Hey, I'll read them.
Yep. That's right. Chris will holler for $1.
Especially if it's coming from a man.
Right.
Captain.
That's right. So getting into spoilers here. So this movie, when it kicks off, like it really is just a vibe, and it is so different from that first film. And they're like, "How about a spaceship with a face?" And you're just like, "Holy shit, what is going on?" And then they're like, "How would you like to see the most sci-fi movie ever?" And it's like, I can't imagine the people that like came straight out of Pitch Black, didn't know what they were going to get, and were just like,
oh yeah, because I mean this movie is so shockingly different than Pitch Black.
Mm-hmm.
Because Pitch Black is really just an escape movie. It's just them going, "Hey, we crashed on this planet," which was sci-fi beginning because they're flying in space and then they crash because I think they hit meteors or something. I can't remember why they crashed, but and then and it is a very sci-fi movie. So Pitch Black, it's sci-fi.
It's like thriller, suspense thriller is more of the genre.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like like Matt was saying, in this like unedited version, which I was expecting to be like super violent and gory as well. Let me say it's not. Like you might get like one head cut off, but it is not super violent, which I wasn't expecting. I actually was thinking that, so during this time period, if you're one of those folks who is of the younger variety and didn't watch these films when they came out back then, one of the things that the industry thrived on was that they loved to make two versions, especially they like director's cuts were a huge thing. And what they would do is they would literally film a whole movie for like rated R and then be like, the director's cut is rated R, it's super violent and all this crazy shit, but the one we're going to put in theaters is PG-13 because a lot more people will go see it. And so then it became a very well-known thing. That's why a lot of people bought movies back then, was so that they could buy the R-rated version, get more gore and whatever. I figured that this was intentionally made for R, but it was clearly not. This is clearly still a very PG-13 movie. It is not violent at all, really, for the director's cut.
It really is. And I feel like it suffers in that.
Yeah, I think it does too.
It would have been much better if it was R.
It needs to be a hard, like this series needs to be a hard R. And was Pitch Black R? Because I feel like it was.
I don't know. I want to say probably not.
Yeah.
But then again, with it being an indie movie, they were trying to probably reach more people. So they probably tried to make it a PG-13.
It was R.
Oh.
It was R. So, yeah.
So then they were probably thinking, okay, we've got some fans. Let's make this big in theaters.
Yeah.
Make it PG-13.
Because they were, well, and it had a bigger budget. They put more money into it. The interesting thing is that Riddick is also R.
Oh, yeah.
So literally the middle movie, the biggest one in the series, is PG-13, but then they followed it up with an R-rated film that was seen by actually like less people from what I gather. I don't think Riddick, the movie, actually did super well. Do you remember? I know you being a big fan of the series.
I don't know how it did. I love that movie also. Honestly, my rating kings go like Chronicles of Riddick, Pitch Black.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not just don't really love like the color scheme in Pitch Black that much.
It's a hard movie.
That's your lowest is Pitch Black.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying that was your highest.
No.
I agree with you. Pitch Black is the best.
Yeah.
No, I disagree.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a very mad opinion. That's a very mad opinion, though. I'm not surprised.
I mean,
at
it's what it is. It's funny because Terrapin, before I deleted my review, commented and said he agreed.
But yeah, and also if we are having freezing and hitching and stuff, it appears that we are. Have had it in previous weeks. We've lasted a while this episode without it, but it seems to have shown back up at least a little bit.
Yeah, it's like the third or fourth time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's like for a second. And we come back, and it's their platform that we're using, definitely.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry about that.
Sorry.
But so is there anything specifically you guys want to touch on in this movie? Like any highlights, any things that stand out? Outside of the fact I do want to say, just for the freaking record, Tandy Newton is an absolute baddie. Always.
He's a babe.
She is a just rock solid babe. She was like
Carl Urban.
Carl Urban is a babe.
Dude.
Matt's like,
both. Yes.
Matt's like, let me get hella gay for y'all for a minute.
If you're not hella gay for him, which I know you will.
This movie, he's got wiener head going on.
I like bad boys.
Yeah.
What can I say?
He looks a little effeminate in this one.
And he lets a woman dictate his.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
He's a bit of a bitch.
As we all know, wives pull the strings, which is what this movie did. Okay. Okay.
Ain't no woman gonna tell me what to do. And my wife will probably also in the chat agree and be like, yes, he's a fucking dick. So, but yeah, he's no, Tandy Newton though, for real. Like even in Westworld from like several years ago, she's in her like 50s or something now and still just smoking hot. Like the woman's got it going on and had it going on back then and just always does.
Rock and roller too. Like just always has it going on, and I love her in this role. That's like I like most of the supporting characters.
Yeah,
I think they all play their own like different. They're trying to show they're playing chess. Like this is like Game of Thrones and all that. Like I can't think of many movies or sci-fi especially where there's like chess going.
There's some political maneuvering happening.
Yeah, and it could be the time that we grew up in because the style also reflects that.
Oh yeah,
so, she had the like low rise hip huggers, which I still like.
Yep.
No offense to anybody who likes the high rise.
They're coming back, bro.
Look,
they're coming back
about that.
But we're in a weird situation right now. Speaking of being a TikTok kid, we're in a weird scenario right now where the ladies are talking about it because also the bush is back. So we've got low-rise jeans back, but also Bush. You can't have low-rise jeans and Bush.
I mean,
you could,
but it says you can't.
But
shouldn't.
you shouldn't. You shouldn't.
So I just pull up my little multi-tool, get
Right.
the scissors out.
Yeah, you gotta pick a lane. I mean, no one wants to see a full afro on the top of some low rise. Like, ain't nobody wants that.
Speak for yourself, Blaine. The 70s were a beautiful time.
But yeah, well, they said there wasn't low rise there either.
But also Vin Diesel with hair. I wish they would have like shown, like, I wish he would have held on to his hair for a little bit longer.
Yeah, but that was just a wig.
Yeah, but it was great.
It's great. And the beard.
Yeah.
That's like the thing, like the opening sequence.
Yeah.
With him, like we quote that all the time. We're like, you're real jumpy tombs. All the time. Zena and I do that all the time
Really?
with each other. Yeah.
That is an interesting thing to regularly quote.
Yeah,
for
we
sure.
literally quote that all the time.
Nice.
Yeah,
I did write down one of his quotes where he says, "Been a long time since I smelled beautiful."
So ridiculous.
Who says that? Nobody.
Yes, when he says it, there were multiple times when he speaks, and I was like, "The fuck!" Like, there is literally a line that is almost the line from Dodgeball, where he's like, "Nobody makes me bleed my own blood." There is literally a line in this movie played completely seriously.
Wait, was that when the Grand Marshal?
Yes,
says
the
it?
Grand Marshal's
He's
like,
I haven't seen my blood.
"It's been a long time since I've seen my own blood."
Yeah.
And I literally like busted out laughing. I was like, they did not. Like,
Yep.
the guy who directed and wrote this movie is all about some hammy ass writing, or
Yeah.
maybe he just lets Vin like insert his.
I honestly feel
stuff
like
in
he
this.
like writes a lot of it, and then Vin Diesel comes in. It's like, we should do some cheesy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
He's about it for sure.
Oh yeah.
I also really appreciated the monologue, like the inner monologue from him. Like it is really cheesy, but it makes it feel like a noir film. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of what they were going for.
So Vin Diesel's inner monologue,
Yeah.
like as the movie's going along.
Yeah, because like whenever he's like, chained up in the whenever he gets captured to go
Right.
back to the prison
Mhm.
planet, he's like, yeah, I could kill them all and take over it, but why do that when I can get driven?
Mhm.
And it's like, I don't know. There's something about it where I'm just kind of like, all right, I can
Because
dig it.
really,
It's cheesy.
not a lot of movies do that anymore.
Yeah.
And it is cheesy. Don't get
It
me
is.
wrong, but it's like a nice cheese. It's like we're at an
Right.
Italian restaurant and they're grating
Yeah.
Parmesan on
And
a
you never
beautiful
say
plate
stop.
of spaghetti. Exactly.
never
There's
says
never
stop.
done cheese.
They never said stop with the cheese on this movie. I laughed a lot. Like there's
Yeah.
some legitimately super funny stuff in this movie. But yeah, so was there any like big moments or anything that stood out that y'all wanted to talk about though?
I love the crematorium planet.
Okay.
That is such a cool concept that they would make some sort of crazy prison on this planet that surface is,
Right.
I don't know, like lava.
Untouchable.
Yeah, it's basically like a lava planet. And then they have the cool creature designs with like the saber-toothed dogs things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Egregious.
It's not that bad though. I mean, you can tell they're CGI. Obviously, they're not real. There's not gonna be a dog wearing a green suit doing this, I think. But
Why not?
I mean, maybe there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dogs actually looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
Right.
No.
now I will say that some of my qualms also come from that planet where they're like stretching logic to a point in which is
yeah.
like time moves at totally different speeds. Just like for 1 minute they'll be like, "Oh shit, the sun's coming, we're gonna melt," and then they're like, "No, we got a minute." It's
Yeah.
just like
further, further.
the sun slowed
Douse
down.
myself in a little water. Everything will be fine.
I'm just gonna
There's
get
an
steamy.
explosion coming towards us, but it's just a little
Plus, when
water.
it pours them, it hasn't hit them yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it does. Like the sun, like literally slows its speed and then picks it up. It slows it back
Yeah.
down and picks it up.
It's a
And
mountain.
There's
Yeah, it's
mountains
awesome.
and stuff. Exactly. There's mountains and shit.
My biggest qualm with that is that it's sci-fi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could have gone with any temperature,
Mhm.
but they went with 700 degrees. That's hot, but like pizza ovens get that hot. Like to
Sure.
cremate a body, they go to like 1800 degrees.
Right.
Like they could have
Maybe
said
they're talking
7,000
Celsius.
if they want.
Right.
They say Fahrenheit
Oh, that's a good point.
because if they're talking Celsius,
Okay.
then it's something
I
completely different.
stand corrected.
I mean, I don't know. I
Kelvin.
don't remember
Fuck
that.
it, let's do
Fucking
Kelvin.
Kelvin. That
Yeah.
would make the most sense.
Yeah.
If they're talking about Kelvin.
It's like the
Then that
center
would
of the
make the most
universe
sense.
at the
There
Big
you
Bang.
fucking-
you
who
know?
uses Kelvin?
Nobody. But this is space. Space. nerds.
Fucking nerds. Yeah.
But that's okay. That's fair. I guess they didn't say Fahrenheit, but
I mean, we're assuming.
yeah,
Yeah.
they
one
didn't put
must
that
assume.
much thought into it.
Yeah, that planet was cool. It is interesting, like with the loftiness of this movie, where you're like, how they took this story where it's like the prison whole bit could have been like a whole movie. Like that alone, and it honestly had the depth of like the first movie,
Shawshank.
right?
True.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like, you have that bit, and but then like there is so many layers to this, so many things happening. These like exterior characters that are all interacting with all this stuff, and they do navigate it fairly well. Like and mix in all of these bits, but you're like watching it. There was a part of me that was like, I feel like there was still, even after seeing the 2.5 hour movie, I feel like there was like probably another hour on top of that was probably written that they were like, we might have written too much. Like we might have gone a little too far.
Probably.
We've written 2 movies, but we can only make 1, so let's cut it.
Right. It very much, and I think that there was like a comic book. There's been so much, like they're clearly very, very passionate about this world, and you've got to admire them for that. It is, like I said, I see a lot of similarities with the Zack Snyder thing. Like this feels like how he gets about movies, and where he's just like, I'm going to do all this lore, and I'm going to make this extended world, and it's going to be complex and all these things, and it does feel like that on top of just looking like with the way it's shot and stuff, like a Zack Snyder movie. But there was, I do wish that the action was better. Like I really, the action is kind of subpar in this movie. The fight scenes and stuff aren't super visceral. They're not very like kinetic. A lot of the times they're doing weird camera shit and they're just like cut.
Some of the worst shaky cam I've ever seen.
Yeah, there was one fight scene, especially on the planet, that I could think of, and I hadn't noticed it before this.
Yeah,
but it was really shaky, and I was just kind of, oh, maybe it's just because of the version we were watching, but maybe not.
The first fight scene, there really should be like a medical warning in the beginning of this, because they not only was it shaky cam, it was like strobe, like you were at some underground rave. But it was it's
a very like of its time, early 2000s thing that they like to do, where they're like camera flash, and then they're like here's 3 versions of the same thing happening on the screen, layered over top of one another at the same time, and you're just like, whoa. Like there's a lot of that. It's kind of, they did some stuff like that. Like it's very Matrixy, very, there's some of that stuff happening in this movie for sure. It wears its time period on its sleeve for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is definitely a movie of the time. There's no way around it. I think maybe Riddick, the following movie, is less of its time, where they did, because that movie is more beat of Riddick or Pitch Black. I mean, but just telling a different sort of story.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but it's also more modern, and it gets away from the stylization of the first 2 movies. So it is kind of like a more normal movie, which gives me hope for the 4th movie.
I mean, it could do well. Who knows? I mean, I don't know with Riddick how that one did and the reception of it, like how many strings they're going to have to pull to do another one of these, and what it's going to take.
I don't either, but there's just continuously people talking about it,
right?
And Vin Diesel's talking very positive way, like, hey man,
I feel like and I need to go back and see Riddick, you might remember, but I feel like with the complexity of this story, they almost need to walk all of that back to a degree just to make it more simple, so that they don't confuse the shit out of people, because this movie is so complex,
which they did with Riddick.
Okay,
it is literally, basically it starts with, he becomes the leader of the necromongers, and they trick him and they ditch him on a planet, basically.
Okay.
They take him to what they promised to be his home planet, and they basically just leave him there.
Is Carl Urban in it?
No.
Okay.
No. And if it would be, it would only been for like the minute.
5 seconds.
But John Batista's in it.
Oh, there's Dave Batista, you mean?
Dave Batista.
Yeah.
There's a couple people that you would recognize.
Jonathan Batista, brother of Dave Batista.
But basically, it's such a more grounded. So it's him like figuring out how to escape this planet when he's by himself.
Okay, so very much like the first one.
Yes, except he's by himself, and he finds like a mercenary hub, and basically puts out a beacon that, like, because he's still super wanted,
right?
And so he basically puts out a beaker, being like, "I'm here,
right?
Come get me."
So, what do you guys think about? Obviously, like his whole thing is he's like, he can't see in the daytime really well, and he's got to wear these super cool glasses, goggles, yes. But how do y'all feel about the fact that, like, he's also a super badass dude. Then they made him in this movie into like some kind of chosen one where he's the representative of his planet, but also there was this other guy from his planet with a handprint on his chest.
I forgot
Was
about
that
that
the
guy.
version you saw?
No,
Okay.
no, but the guy with the blonde hair, he
Yes.
is a Furia, which was a
Yes.
cool like reveal there. I forgot.
So
that
did he have a
was
handprint on his chest in the one
They
you
never
saw?
showed his
Okay,
titties,
that was
so,
a good
yeah.
that was a good move.
Sadly.
So the whole thing, so did you see the part where in the version we see, Riddick actually has like a vision, he gets a handprint on his chest, and this woman from his planet, we don't know who she is or why, she's just like touches him and she's like, you are the chosen one, and he's like, no, and he explodes and blows everyone away. And then that dude that you're talking about who says he's a Furian is like, I also have a handprint on my titty. Why? No one knows, but we're brothers. And
and see, that was
Just know
never
that.
that's not in
It's weird.
that's all on that mystical like world building thing they were trying to do is all cut out, like I was saying earlier. And I mean,
none of
get
that's like canon.
It's not explained enough for them to have included it.
Yeah.
So I do think it was right for them to cut it out, but then it also sucks because it cuts out that world building and why he is something special.
Right.
But also kind of appreciate the fact that it is a mystery. Like they kind of, they're just like, it's this Furia or whatever the name of the planet is. That
some of the names in this movie are also very on the nose sci-fi type names where they're like Necromunders and the like, what is it?
Munger.
Necrominge. The Necrominge.
Yeah, exactly. They're all British.
Yes.
I wish Carl Urban would have kept his accent, at least added some variety, to because they're all just humans. They all have the same accent, but that's a little nitpicky.
Just the 2000s for you, I guess.
Ben did say that Urban was in the other movie for a brief cameo, and there is an alternate ending where his character is implied to have gained powers of 3 previous Grand Marshal.
Would be dope, and I haven't watched that version, and I need to, because that would make sense, because then it would just build up that he is a super special creature /
and
being.
that there are other special beings in this world.
Right.
So, it's an interesting thing that they definitely bit off a lot with this series. But do y'all want to touch in on our critic list reviews and see what so we're sitting at an 81%, but it's only about 12 people. So by the time our reviews come in, the score will probably change some. Well, actually, Matt will help pull it up.
No, it's not gonna change.
Me and you will help bring it down though. So we're helping. Yeah. But so we've got Nick Amaro left his review, gave it a 65%, said it was a solid 6.5 out of 10, great action, interesting sci-fi environments. We get a bit more look into Riddick's mind, and that is the thing, is they keep him very nebulous and like kind of unknown in that first movie. He's a bit of a mystery, and in this one they do really flesh out his character. John Arthur Bateman in the app all the time gave it a 74%, said larger than life, big and bombastic with as much subtlety as a lawnmower, and that is the absolute best way to put it. And it says the film cuts to the chase from scene 1, and that is very true, because it really does. This movie just like gives it to you whole hog.
Yeah.
They don't hold back. So Jeremy the Cyborg gave it a 90%, and we had Wolf Logan gave it 100%. Matt, this is your people right here. That's
how
is
you
your
wind
folks.
up in my friends and benefits. That right there.
Yep.
Does it for me.
This will get you an
Second
FWB.
favorite movie.
Second favorite movie. That is impressive. Yeah.
That's been
it
wild,
says he's tried to make others feel the same, and they just they don't seem to see it like he does. Very few people see what I see in this movie, but Matt, you do.
Yeah.
So clearly,
he's not alone.
Wolf
He really
Logan.
isn't. Xena also really likes. We'll get to her review.
Yeah,
it's in here.
Y'all are a special bunch, among the elite, some might say.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Dehydrate also an 81%. Terrapin Reviews, notorious criticless user, gave it an 82%. And if you see that lightning bolt next to Terrapin's name right there, that means he is a Crit Club subscriber and verified, which is what all of you need to do to help Criticless keep chugging along. So I highly encourage it. But he says, Ray ain't got nothing on Rick Sue. And that is the best line ever, because he is a Rick Sue. He's
a Riddick Sue.
He's a Riddick Sue, yes. Riddick Sue, yeah. And I like how he's been breaking down his reviews. He says how he watched it, says, he breaks down all the stuff there. And he said that he drank tea while watching this movie.
No. You're misunderstanding.
Oh, yeah?
He does, in his reviews now, he'll do how many times there's coffee in it.
Oh.
And this movie, there is tea.
There is
and
tea
also a death by tea cup. Which is what he's referencing with that.
Was that in your version, Chris? Was it?
Yes.
Did you see?
Oh, yeah.
The death by tea cup.
Rammed through the chest?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. And then he sits, they'll pick.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? and then all the guys shiver and shit their pants at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Classic.
That was one of the cooler moments in the film. Like I say, like some of the action here could have been better. There's some decent moments. We didn't talk about also his sister love interest. I think I like to call her. There was some weird sexual tension between the two of them. It's well, that's the thing. So yes, well they said that she views you as a brother is what they said earlier in the film. But then also I felt like a weird sexual tension between them, like in the moment when he picks her up with his knee, and it's like I don't know, it was just a little.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. And there is something there,
right?
Yeah.
But it's
especially if you're thinking of Pitch Black and their relationship in that,
right? Because she was like a little girl,
exactly.
And the whole thing with Pitch Black and her character, if you didn't know, is that in Pitch Black she was actually gallivanting as like a young man, a little boy, and then it turned out that it was a girl, and that was actually while the monsters were hunting them in Pitch Black because she was menstruating and the monsters were coming after her.
Early teenager. I guess I was always thinking like
she was supposed to be 12,
like that. Yeah.
So, and in this movie, it's played by Alexa Davalos, and I have always found her to be a foxy lady as well. She was in The Mist, and the big thing that she's known for is Man in the High Castle. She was the lead in that. But she was. She's
French.
Yeah, she was.
I thought that's who you were talking about.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
No, Tandy Newton is she's the black lady that was
Carl Urban's wife.
No, she's also hot.
That is Carl Urban's wife.
No,
she looks fantastic in this movie.
It's true.
So, she's a badass in this movie for sure.
Dame Judi Jen.
Yep.
Yeah, talk about wild seeing her in this.
Right.
How much did they pay her?
Right. Seriously.
I think they really thought this was gonna be a blockbuster.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got some more reviews here. Absurdi gave it a 78. We got a 74 by Common Sense, another regular Criticalist user. Jedi X gave it a 64 for the user, 75, and Xena Winefiend gave it a 90%, same as Matt. So they're on the same page there. And obviously she loves this movie. And
wait, scroll back up.
Yes.
So for the user's review.
Yes.
So this video she attached to is Vin Diesel breakdancing.
Dude, yes.
As like this is pre him being famous.
Yes, I remember when this came out. Yes, before he was famous, he did some breakdancing, and that is another thing.
With hair.
Yep, he had hair. If you are a Crit Club member, you can do this, or if you're one of our content creators, but you do have to have a certain follower count to get cleared for that. So, and it is a bit higher, so just know that. But yeah, this is pretty awesome. Vin Diesel breakdancing. And I had forgotten about this video, and so it was perfect to attach it to this.
Yeah, I did not know about this.
Oh, really?
Until she posted it to her review, and I was like,
great.
"What is this?"
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty great. So yeah, but that's all of our Criticalist reviews, and like we said, the score will change a little bit. If you have seen it, make sure to leave your review within the app, and I think that pretty much covers it for this thing. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think so.
Love the universe.
Apparently we are getting some major lag, so we apologize. I know we were getting that earlier, so sorry about that. Hopefully we can get that to eventually stop. We're just going to harass StreamYard until they get rid of all
because there is ridiculous that we're lagging like this.
Yeah, it's a real pain. So anyways, that's going to be it for our review of Chronicles of Riddick. This is another critic-hated, audience-loved movie, and it has a 28%, which I did not mention earlier, on Rotten Tomatoes, a 28%. And by the audience, it has a 65, which I think is a much fair score. That makes a lot more sense. A 65, still lower than Matt would like.
I agree with
that.
Nah, but honestly, I could see 65 being a fair score. Like I think a Rad or a Most Excellent is appropriate for this movie.
Right.
I can see some people being like, this movie is decent at best. But there's so much world building, and there is so much to this movie that you don't see in a lot of movies nowadays.
Right.
That's like I don't know how you don't have a hard time. Like I would be really confused when people are like, "This is bogus." Or a heinous movie. Like I just don't see that. And that's me trying to think of it as more critically too.
Right.
Like
and it does seem like some of the critics, just kind of looking through, that do like it, do appreciate it for its scope and kind of what they were going for. But then like one of the critics says that it's very violent, and I'm like, what movie did you watch?
I mean,
this movie
it is violent. It's just not gory.
Yeah, it's violent. There's lots of fight scenes. I guess a lot of people die. Like there's constant fight scenes.
But people, I mean, is it like more than like I don't know, like a Star Wars or Marvel or something? Like I didn't find it to be that.
So many fight scenes. You guys
take
out 30 minutes of the movie. The 30 minutes they added are all non-violent.
It's all right.
Take out 30 minutes of non-violence.
Yeah.
You're running at a 2-hour movie where I would argue at least an hour and a quarter
is just
are action violence.
Yeah, I guess it's just the version that I saw was so long, and then there is, like you said, there's a lot of extra added exposition and different things.
I mean, I think it is excessive to say that it's like overly violent. Like, I mean, they have a good mix of, which I'll give them kudos for, of between dialogue and action. So, but I don't think it's like too much. Yeah.
Cool. Well, all right. So that is that's the end of our Chronicles of Riddick review. Like I said, we are going to be doing another of these at some point, and the hope is that it will be, I plan on it being SLC Punk, just because I want to encourage people to see it. I think now that we're getting to the point where more people are realizing that we're doing this show and are watching in between the apps and different things, I can encourage people to watch it. I want people to see it just because it is very unknown. And when I started talking about, people are like, "What is this that you're recommending?" And also, is that Matthew Lillard with the mohawk? Like, so,
which is reason enough to watch it,
right? Right.
He's a gem.
Yeah, he is. National treasure, some might say. So now we're going to dig into our send-off songs. We have send-off songs that we send you off with every week. You get to hear what we have been listening to lately and give you some music recommendations for what to personally listen to. So, guys, what have you what are you going to send us off with, Chris?
I am going to send you off with a song by Noonzy. And it's called Buffalo. Yeah, so it's Noonzy.
Noonzy. I feel like I've heard of Noonzy.
Maybe. Could be.
But if it's Chris, it's quite possibly
like
the most
400 people have heard of it.
Yeah, obscure indie thing you've ever heard of.
But it is very, if you're into Still Woozy, it's got that vibe, which I think both of them have drawn inspiration from Mac Miller. So it's that like smooth jazz rap kind of.
Right. I was about to say like stoner rock rap.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Which this is, it's not as rappy as Mac Miller, but so it's closer to Still Woozy. So, yeah. If you're into that kind of stuff, that's good.
Nice.
Cool. Check them out.
And Matt, what you sending us off with?
Yeah, I'm sending you all off with Hex, which has 3 X's at the end of it.
Okay.
By Red Hook and Vina. And this is, they're both chicks, and is a new metal, heavy metal song. And it's, it feels very like Red Hook herself and her music just feels very like underground, in your face, kind of like metal, where she's singing, but like the way she like screams and things like that is very like guttural and just, I don't know. It's just something about it that I'm like, yes, this is what is missing and for me in like the new metal genre of music.
Awesome. Yeah. Nice.
So it's Hex by Red Hook.
Nice. Well, we are going to be all over the spectrum today, and not just with how autistic we all are. I am going to be doing a country song, which is by an artist that many of you have probably heard of, Mr. Morgan Wallen.
Oh, I thought you were Brad Paisley.
No, that isn't country. I don't even know what that. Get the hell out of here. Yes, this is a Morgan Wallen song that is new, and it is called Love Somebody. And let me tell you, this song is an absolute banger. I listen... Every once in a while, a song will catch me, and I'm like, I can actually listen to it legitimately on repeat, like over and over. And I was driving to Florida a couple weeks ago for MegaCon, and I listened to this song, and I was like, holy shit, this song slaps. And I literally listened to it over and over for like 45 minutes. I don't even know. Like, I literally had it on repeat. Like, it would end, and I'd be like, damn it, I need to listen to it again. And it's so good. I don't know why it's so good, but it's really good.
Morgan Wallen,
believe it or not. Okay. Granted, when my mullet was longer, I was getting confused for Morgan Wallen on a regular basis. So, you know, we are kindred
spirits. That's why you're walking around like, I'm Morgan Wallen.
I'm Morgan Wallen, you know, if you didn't know. But yeah, Love Somebody by Morgan Wallen. It's a banger if you like country at all. It's a really good song. So I recommend listening to it. But that's going to be it for our episode today, guys. I'm really glad everybody showed up. Thanks for joining in the chat and watching. And if there's anything that you guys like about what we're doing or want us to change, or as far as the structure and everything else, just let us know. We're really flexible, and we're really wanting to polish this live stream and really get to where it's like what everybody's expecting. I like covering some of this new stuff and what we're watching, whatever, but it's like, you know, we're just kind of going with the flow and just really wanting to create the show that is good for our Criticalist users, kind of highlight what you guys are reviewing and talking about. And hopefully we can continue to do that as the channel grows and just do more and more of kind of putting a spotlight on our users. And then maybe even from time to time, like have you guys kind of write in or different things where we can really focus in on some of y'all. So I just want to keep trucking along with this, but thanks for joining us. And we will be back again soon.
Next week for that Mickey.
Yes, we will be doing Mickey 17.
I'm
right?
Yeah,
I
Mickey's,
think it's
yep.
17.
yes,
Yep.
the new Robert Pattinson film. We will be reviewing that next week. I am actually quite excited about it, but we do have at least one review. Somebody saw it early. One of our Crit
Oh,
Club
wow.
paid users that gets to see early films a lot and has
Yeah.
actually already dropped a review, and it was surprisingly low. But this is by the This is by the director of Snowpiercer. So
okay.
gonna go ahead and throw that out
Yeah.
there. This movie has been in the mix for a long time, and a lot of people were really excited about it. So either way, I mean, this is going to be a like very sci-fi, higher budget, interesting concept kind of a film, decent amount of stars in it. So, you know, I'll be interested to hear our thoughts on it for sure. But
Yeah,
everybody, take it easy. We'll be back soon. Later.
Later, guys.
Ciao.